The love and hip-hop world has been thrown into chaos. Explosive leaks have surfaced showing Chrissy. Lampkin secretly tying the knot with another man while still involved with Jim Jones. The shocking affair has left Jim shattered, blindsided by the betrayal of the woman he's loved for decades. What started as whispers of cheating has now erupted into a full-blown scandal. And the footage that just surfaced might be the final nail in their relationship. The entire love and hip-hop community has been shaken to its core. And this time, it's not about petty drama or scripted beef. It's about betrayal that cuts deep. Chrissy Lampkin, the longtime love of Jim Jones, has reportedly been caught red-handed in the middle of a secret marriage scandal. And the man at the center of it is not Jim, for years. Jim and Chrissy have been one of the most talked about couples in hip-hop reality TV. Their love story spanned over a decade, full of ups and downs, arguments and reconciliations, proposals and postponements. Fans have rooted for them, criticized them, and watched them navigate everything from fame to family conflict. Through it all, one thing seemed certain: they were ride or die. But this scandal has shattered that illusion in a single blow. According to multiple sources close to the production, Chrissy secretly married another man months ago in a quiet ceremony in Miami. At first, it was nothing more than an unverified rumor, whispers floating through backstage hallways and gossip blogs. But then, the footage leaked. A short, grainy video appeared on social media late at night, showing Chrissy in a white gown, holding hands with a tall man in a tuxedo, standing before an officiant. It was only a few seconds long, but it was unmistakably her. The profile, the voice, even the laugh as guests clapped in the background. And standing next to her was not Jim Jones. Within minutes, the video went viral. Fans flooded the comments with disbelief and heartbreak. "This can't be real," one wrote. "After all these years, she did him like this." Others were quick to point out that Jim had just been seen with Chrissy days earlier, attending an industry event together and posing like nothing was wrong. That contrast, their public appearance as a united couple and this secret wedding behind closed doors made the betrayal sting even more. Behind the scenes, the reaction from Jim was reportedly immediate and explosive. According to an insider, Jim was filming in Atlanta when he got the call from one of his close friends. The friend had seen the video making the rounds in private group chats before it hit the blogs. He tried to soften the blow, but there was no way to prepare Jim for what he saw. He just froze, the source said. He stared at the screen like he couldn't breathe. Then he started pacing like he was trying to convince himself it was fake. But the more he watched, the more it sank in. That really was Chrissy. And she really had married someone else. At first, Jim reportedly went into denial. He started calling Chrissy's phone repeatedly, but she didn't answer. He texted her, demanding answers, but got nothing. That silence only fueled his rage. According to the source, Jim smashed his phone against the wall of his trailer and locked himself inside for hours. Meanwhile, the rest of the Love and Hip Hop cast was in chaos. Group chats lit up with screenshots of the wedding clip, voice notes full of shock and speculation. Some thought it had to be old footage from before she met Jim, but the timestamp on the video showed it was just weeks ago. Others wondered if it was part of a storyline. But even producers admitted they had no idea this was coming. "It's not a storyline," one crew member said. "This is real. This is the biggest betrayal we've ever seen on this show." And as if the video wasn't damaging enough, photos began surfacing too. Paparazzi shots from earlier that week showed Chrissy and her alleged new husband having dinner in Miami, holding hands under the table. Another photo showed them arriving at a luxury condo building together late at night. By the next morning, every blog and entertainment site had picked it up. Headlines screamed across social media: "Chrissy secretly married Jim Jones, blindsided." Love and Hip Hop shocker. Affair footage leaks. Fans were in full meltdown. Hashtags like #PoorJim, #ChrissyBetrayed, and #JusticeForJim began trending on X, formerly Twitter. Even celebrities chimed in, with some calling Chrissy heartless, and others suggesting Jim had it. coming because he took too long to marry her. But what none of them knew yet was just how deep this betrayal went. Because according to sources close to Chrissy, this new man isn't just a fling or rebound. He's someone she's been secretly seeing for over a year. Insiders claim Chrissy met him during a business trip in Miami last summer. At first, it was strictly professional. He's reportedly a wealthy real estate developer who sponsored one of her fashion projects. But over time, their connection grew. She said he treated her like a queen, one insider revealed. He made her feel seen, appreciated. She told her friend she was tired of waiting for Jim to step up. Tired of always being the one fighting to move their relationship forward. This new guy made everything feel easy, and that, they say, is what finally pushed her to make the unthinkable choice, marrying someone else in secret while still appearing to be with Jim in public. Meanwhile, Jim has been spiraling behind closed doors. Sources say he hasn't been eating, barely sleeping, and refuses to leave his house. He's reportedly turned down interviews and studio sessions, canceling every obligation just to avoid the media storm. One friend described him as broken. Another said, "I've known Jim for 20 years and I've never seen him like this. He's not angry anymore. He's just devastated. Like part of him died." To make matters worse, legal drama could be looming on the horizon. There are whispers that Jim and Chrissy may still be financially entangled. Joint properties, shared business ventures, even legal contracts tied to the show. If Chrissy's secret marriage is legally binding, it could complicate all of that. Lawyers are reportedly already involved behind the scenes, preparing for what could become a very messy public fallout, and yet, through it all, Chrissy has remained completely silent. No statements, no denials, no explanations. Her social media pages have gone dark. No posts, no stories, not even likes or comments. That silence is only making things worse, as fans and the media fill in the blanks with their own theories. Some are painting her as a mastermind who plotted this for months. Others are calling her a victim who finally escaped a stagnant relationship. But no matter which side they're on, everyone agrees on one thing. Jim Jones did not see this coming. The man who once rapped about loyalty, who told the world Chrissy was his ride or die, is now watching her walk away, not just into someone else's arms, but into a legally binding commitment with another man. And the worst part? She didn't even tell him first. He found out like everyone else. Through a leaked video. As the clip continues to circulate, fans are demanding answers. Producers are scrambling to get Chrissy on camera, and Jim is reportedly refusing to speak to anyone until he gets the truth from her directly. But the longer she stays silent, the louder the noise gets, and the more the world starts to wonder if this really is the end of Jim and Chrissy's love story. For good. Because if the footage is real, then what they had wasn't just broken. It was already over. And Jim Jones may be the last person to realize it. The news of Chrissy's alleged secret marriage spread like wildfire. And by the following morning, social media had turned into a war zone. Thousands of comments flooded in from fans, critics, and even industry insiders who had known Jim and Chrissy for years. Everyone had an opinion, and none of it was kind. People began dissecting old interviews and clips of Chrissy, looking for signs that she had been pulling away from Jim. Some resurfaced a moment from years ago on Love and Hip Hop New York when Chrissy tearfully questioned if Jim would ever fully commit. Others highlighted how Jim had repeatedly dodged marriage despite Chrissy's public proposals, suggesting that maybe she had simply grown tired of waiting. But even if that were true, nothing could excuse what she was being accused of now, marrying someone else in secret while still appearing to be with Jim. The betrayal hit fans hard, but it hit Jim like a freight train. In the hours after the leak, Jim went completely silent online. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no cryptic captions. For someone known for wearing his heart on his sleeve, the silence was deafening. Insiders close to him told blogs that he had locked himself in the studio, blasting old Dipset records and refusing to speak to anyone, even his closest friends. One insider described him as shattered, like someone just pulled the ground from under him. Meanwhile, Angie, the man allegedly married to Chrissy, suddenly found himself thrust into the spotlight. Tabloids dug into his background, uncovering that he was a wealthy real estate investor based in Miami. He wasn't from the entertainment world, and that made the whole situation even more baffling. How had Chrissy, a longtime figure in the hip-hop spotlight, managed to keep a secret marriage to a man completely outside the industry hidden for so long? Reporters camped outside Angie's Miami home, and paparazzi staked out Chrissy's known hangouts in New York. The chaos was overwhelming. Back in Jim's camp, things went from bad to worse. Mama Jones, Jim's outspoken mother and a fan favorite on the show, reportedly lost her temper when she saw the leaked wedding footage. According to one source, she screamed at producers on the phone, demanding to know if they had known about this betrayal and accusing them of setting Jim up to be humiliated. She was allegedly threatening to confront Chrissy on camera, insisting that the betrayal wouldn't go unanswered, while Jim was spiraling in private. Chrissy was being dragged publicly. Her social media was flooded with accusations and hate comments. Some fans even went as far as tagging Jim under old romantic photos of them, saying things like, "She never deserved you, and you gave her your youth, and she gave her vows to another man." But there was one post that stood out from the rest, a short, cryptic Instagram story Chrissy uploaded and quickly deleted. It was just a black background with white text that read, "Sometimes peace means walking away, even if nobody understands." The post sent shockwaves across social media. Was this Chrissy admitting to leaving Jim? Was she confirming that she had chosen Angie? Or was it just an attempt to calm the backlash while everything spun out of control? No one knew for sure, but the damage was already done. Meanwhile, VH1 producers behind Love and Hip Hop New York were reportedly scrambling to figure out how to handle the fallout. The affair scandal was ratings gold, but they were worried about legal trouble if it turned out Chrissy had really married someone while still under contract for the show. One insider claimed that if the marriage was legal, it could violate exclusivity clauses, meaning Chrissy might be cut from the cast entirely. Jim, however, wasn't thinking about contracts or ratings. He was drowning. Close friends described him sitting alone in the studio, replaying old voicemails from Chrissy and staring blankly at his phone as notifications poured in. At one point, he reportedly smashed his phone against the wall when a gossip blog tagged him in a post showing Chrissy and Angie on a yacht together, looking carefree and in love. What hurt the most wasn't just the betrayal, it was the timing. Jim had allegedly been quietly planning to finally propose to Chrissy again this year, wanting to give her the wedding she had always dreamed of. He had even been in contact with a jeweler about designing a custom ring, to find out that all this time, she had already been married to someone else. It was crushing. Mama Jones finally showed up at the studio, refusing to leave until Jim spoke to her. According to someone close to the family, she found him slumped over on the couch, eyes red from hours of silent tears. She reportedly told him, "You don't need her to be great. You've been great." It was one of the few things that got through to him. But even then, he wasn't ready to speak publicly. By now, the media frenzy was spiraling out of control. Rumors began flying that Jim might retaliate with legal action of his own, possibly suing Chrissy for emotional damages or defamation if the marriage story turned out to be false. Others whispered that he might go after Angie, questioning whether the marriage was even legally valid. Through all of this, Chrissy still hadn't spoken. No interviews, no statements, nothing. Just silence. And that silence was fueling speculation like wildfire. VH1 executives, sensing that they were sitting on a ratings gold mine, began pushing for an emergency sit-down reunion special where Chrissy, Jim, and Angie could confront each other on camera. Some producers were against it, worried it would push Jim too far emotionally. Others argued that this was the moment to capture TV history, as discussions about the special heated up behind the scenes. Jim quietly slipped out of New York altogether. Paparazzi spotted him arriving at JFK Airport late at night with just a single duffel bag. Sources claimed he was heading to Atlanta to clear his head and get away from the chaos for a while, but leaving didn't make the pain disappear. The reality was unavoidable. The woman he had loved and fought for all these years had allegedly chosen someone else, and done it in the most humiliating way possible. And if Chrissy really had married Angie, then Jim wasn't just dealing with a breakup. He was dealing with the public death of a love story that had defined his entire adult life. Days turned into a tense, eerie silence. Jim had vanished from social media completely. Paparazzi were scouring airports, hotels, even Atlanta's music scene trying to track him down, but he was nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, Chrissy's name dominated headlines, and every major gossip outlet was begging for a statement. Finally, after nearly a full week of silence, Chrissy resurfaced, and it wasn't with a press release or a carefully scripted Instagram post. It happened during an unplanned ambush at a New York restaurant. A group of paparazzi caught her having lunch with a close friend. When she saw the cameras, she froze, visibly shaken. But then, instead of running, she stood and walked directly toward them. Her voice trembled, but her words were clear. "You all think you know the story, but you don't. Jim and I have been done for a long time. I just never said it out loud." The clip spread across the internet like wildfire. It was the first time Chrissy had acknowledged any split from Jim publicly, and the confirmation hit fans like a punch to the gut. To so many people, Jim and Chrissy were the blueprint of a hip-hop love story. They had survived breakups, scandals, and years of chaos together, only for her to quietly walk away and marry someone else within hours. Her words were being replayed on every entertainment network. Blogs dissected every syllable, debating whether Chrissy was trying to justify betrayal or simply telling her truth. But while the world was processing her confession, Jim was watching it alone from a hotel room in Atlanta. According to an insider who spoke anonymously, Jim didn't say a word as he watched the clip. He just stared at the screen, jaw tight, eyes glassy. The source said he replayed the video 3 times, then shut the laptop and walked out without a word. Hours later, Jim posted a black and white photo of himself sitting in the studio with the caption, "Some love stories ain't meant to last, but the music lives forever." It was the first thing he'd posted since the scandal broke. Within minutes, millions flooded the comments, some sending love and prayers, others calling out Chrissy, and a few warning Jim not to let heartbreak derail his legacy. Celebrities like Fat Joe and Menno dropped supportive comments, reminding him that heartbreak didn't define him. But what came next caught everyone off guard. VH1 officially confirmed that Chrissy and Jim would both appear on an Emergency Love and Hip Hop New York reunion special alongside Angie. The announcement sent shockwaves through social media. Fans were torn between excitement and horror, wondering how Jim would handle seeing the woman who allegedly betrayed him, and the man she supposedly left him for. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly walking on eggshells. Jim had agreed to show up under one condition. He didn't want fake drama, staged tears, or forced reconciliation. He wanted the truth. When filming began, the tension was unbearable. Chrissy walked onto the set in a sleek black dress, looking composed but deeply nervous. Angie arrived separately, keeping his head down and avoiding eye contact with the cameras. Jim came last, wearing dark sunglasses and refusing to greet anyone. The audience sat in stunned silence as he lowered himself into the chair across from Chrissy. The host tried to start with basic questions, but Jim cut straight through the script. "Did you marry him while you were still with me?" he asked flatly. The room went completely silent. Chrissy hesitated, her lips trembling. "I ended us long before I married anyone," she said. "You just didn't want to see it." Jim's jaw clenched. "You could have said it to my face, not let me find out from the internet." That was the breaking point. Years of unresolved tension spilled into the open. Jim accused Chrissy of playing with his heart for years, letting him believe they still had a future while secretly building a new life. Chrissy fired back. accusing Jim of taking her for granted and treating their love like a side quest while he focused on music and fame. Angie stayed silent through most of it. But when the host pressed him, he quietly said, "I didn't steal her. She came to me broken. I just gave her peace." The audience gasped. Jim's hands curled into fists, but he held back. After a long pause, he said, "You might have her heart now, but she always know who taught her how to love." With that, he stood up, removed his mic, and walked off the set. Cameras followed as he stormed through the hallway and disappeared into the parking lot. He didn't return for the rest of filming. Chrissy was left in tears. The raw confrontation shattered whatever lingering hope remained of reconciliation. After the special aired, the internet exploded. Hashtags like #TeamJim and #ChrissyExposed trended for days. Fans took sides viciously, some blasting Chrissy for betrayal, others defending her for finally choosing her own happiness. But through all the noise, Jim remained silent again. He disappeared back into the studio, posting only snippets of new music songs drenched in heartbreak and betrayal. In one snippet, he built a castle on lies, thought the queen was loyal. Turns out the crown was poisoned. Fans flooded the comments begging him to release the full track, calling it the breakup anthem of the decade. Meanwhile, Chrissy tried to rebuild her image. She did a single interview tearfully explaining that she never meant to hurt Jim but couldn't keep living a lie. She claimed they had been emotionally done for years and that Angie gave her the stability she had long craved. But no matter how she explained it, the stain of betrayal clung to her name, Mama Jones. True to form, went on Instagram Live and unleashed her fury. She called Angie a prop, accused Chrissy of using Jim for fame, and told fans she would never forgive her. The live drew over 300K viewers with comments flying so fast they blurred across the screen. By this point, it was clear. The fairy tale was dead. Jim and Chrissy weren't just over, they were scorched earth. In the weeks that followed, Jim slowly began to rebuild. He spent time in Atlanta working with younger artists, pouring his heartbreak into his music. Those close to him said he seemed lighter, as if finally accepting that the chapter with Chrissy was closed for good. Chrissy and Angie, meanwhile, were spotted vacationing quietly in Turks and Caicos, trying to stay low-key as the media storm faded. But even there, paparazzi caught them holding hands on the beach, and the photos reignited another round of backlash. For fans who had watched Jim and Chrissy's love story unfold for over a decade, the ending was heartbreaking. But it was also a reminder that not every love, no matter how legendary, is meant to last forever. And for Jim, this was no longer about revenge or proving anything to the world. It was about healing, because sometimes the greatest power comes from letting go. If this shocking twist left you speechless, stay locked in because this story is far from over. Subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding drama. And tell us in the comments, do you think Jim should ever forgive Chrissy? Or is this the end of their love story forever? Your voice matters here. Voice matters here.